of the rim. Got it! Oh, the slam! Oh, here's a Curry way downtown. Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Well, guess who gets to see their team in the NBA Finals for the 4th time in his lifetime? Yeah, the East was a cakewalk. It sucked to watch and get there, but as you can imagine, I am happy. We will be facing off against the Dallas Mavericks. First time in the NBA Finals since 2011. Got a good bit to cover here between the Wolves series and what I think will happen in the NBA Finals, which, by the way, I'm about 1,000% sure any videos like this and future predictions will be on my second channel, because if you can't tell, I've been kind of trying to move away from this style of basic content on this channel, so just a heads up if you're interested. Link in the comment section and description, along with the link to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek, which continues to serve its purpose even with the NBA season winding down. With over 28 million downloads, they are the #1 rated ticketing app and have got more than 70,000 events, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. I continue to use SeatGeek to mostly go to NBA games, which is extremely convenient given my team is now in the NBA Finals. And even if yours isn't, if you want to get in, SeatGeek is the way to do it. They put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Also, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. My favorite feature remains how you can actually see the view you're going to get from the seat you're buying before you even buy it. As usual, I've got my code for y'all, so use code DOM2K for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code DOM2K. Be sure to click the link in the description to download the app. Okie dokie, so in the NBA Finals, I actually had the Minnesota Timberwolves. I thought they were going to win in 7. They lost in 5, and oh boy. Yeah, Dallas got most of what they needed. I came in and said to win a series like this, you would not be able to just have a very tamed Kyrie Irving who's just kind of in the background. He needed to be the second best guy. He was, in fact, the second best guy. He averaged 27 points a game, shot just about 50% from the field, almost 40 from 3, behind Luka, who is just doing absolutely maniacal stuff to people. In between that, they just matched up with the Minnesota Timberwolves very well. One of the keys I had was theorizing which star would struggle more out of Ant and Luka. It was definitely Ant. Cat's production was not there to really make up for it. And then this is going to kind of factor into the finals prediction, because I think some of the lineups that Minnesota had to run were just more favorable to Dallas. There was more they could take advantage of. Things that I do not believe they will be able to take advantage of in the Boston series. So let's go ahead and get to that. Being only a couple of years removed from an NBA Finals appearance, what do I immediately remember? I remember watching my squad try to guard Steph Curry in PNR. Anytime high PNR, trying to avoid switches but not really being able to, because what are you going to do if you can't get totally over the screen? And even if you do get over the screen, Steph is just a wizard. He has so many options at his disposal. But the biggest issue I remember was that we had to play our bigs. That's what made us us. What Robert Williams was doing that year, Al Horford couldn't really afford to just not play them, but that just fed them to the switches. And so Steph would come off, sometimes he'd be in drop, or the defender would be in drop. Once he took that away, if you stepped up, he could drive right by you or just shoot with the minimal amount of space. Okay, why am I going over the Steph tape? For what? Dallas doesn't have Steph. No, they have Luka and Kyrie, who, if they win this finals, might be like top 2 most talented backcourts in NBA history. It's already that way. We'll save the rankings for another day. Just bringing it up because these are 2 guys who you hate to be in a close game with when you can't afford to give up a bucket. And what can either of them do off of screens? You have the option to try and not concede switches, which is very difficult. And if you do, Luka's got your big man on the island, Kyrie's got your big man on the island. It's just kind of tough, right? They can go one-on-one and shoot with 2 hands in their face. They can drive, create penetration, create 3-pointers for one of their role players. I feel way more confident and believe this roster is way more capable to defend that type of action this time, because we are no longer forced to be playing non-shooting bigs. Again, Rob Will was a huge piece of what Boston was doing. He also could not shoot. He was pretty much offensively inept if he wasn't going to catch a lob or make some nice passes. Anyways, in Boston's regular big rotation with Kristaps Porzingis back, these bigs can shoot. Not only that, but the lineups they play in with Boston these days, if it's not a double big lineup, they are way more capable now of just having one big on the floor, leaving the rest of the lineup to be very switchable while not costing anything on offense. That's the biggest difference I can identify between this squad and the 2022 squad functionally on defense. And this kind of ties into the personnel point. Obviously, I don't think anyone would disagree. Boston overall is probably the more talented team here. Dallas has got the best player. However, if there was a team out there and I was looking for ways to match up with Dallas, it doesn't get much better than Boston's defenders. Disclaimer, obviously nobody is really just stopping Kyrie or Luka 1v1. I do feel pretty good about going into this series and saying, all right, for Luka or Kyrie at any point in time, we've got Drew and Derek White on the front line. If you need to, Tatum and Brown can get in on that action. Not saying it's up to them whether Luka averages a near triple-double or not, or whether Kyrie misses his layups, but you do have to admit, for guys who like to score the way Kyrie and Luka do, this is a hellish matchup. Their options are basically going to be to look at a good defender and call it hunting because they are the weakest defender in that lineup, or probably the smallest defender, which, once again, they will probably still get some buckets on. I'm just saying, matching up with those two, if there were ever a lineup with versatility out there to do a decent job at it, I think Boston has it. And then on offense, right? So Dallas's ability to defend Boston, this is kind of what I was alluding to at the end of the Wolves section. There are not really very many sticky lineups for a healthy Boston team, whereas you're watching the Timberwolves, you see a lot of lineups with Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert. I saw that so many times throughout their run, and I'm just going, man, this kind of sucks for Ant. It's just there can be a whole side of the floor blocked off that the defense doesn't really have to concern themselves with. Well, name me the lineup you would say that about for the Boston Celtics. I don't know which one. It ain't gonna be very many where Tatum or Brown can't go and try to get theirs because the spacing is messed up or the talent is being disrespected. If you're high on Boston, I would caution against just looking at Luka and Kyrie on defense as food. If you haven't really been watching this run, I highly applaud both of their efforts actually, and it's really not as simple as you might have heard in the past of just, oh my gosh, that's the backcourt. Okay, cool. We're just about to eat. There will be opportunities. There will be size mismatches. They have been working on that end though. What does Dallas need to win this series? They need basically exactly what they just got from Kyrie and Luka, but then sadly, they also need PJ Washington not to shoot 25% from three. He predictably cooled off from the Thunder series, and then Derek Jones Jr., he kept his threes up. They're going to need all hands on deck, though, which is a positive for getting Maxi Kleber back, at least from a theoretical standpoint of lineups and spacing the floor, especially against Boston. We're just going over how versatile they were on D. Gafford and Lively have both found homes in their jobs for Dallas. It will absolutely help them sometimes, though, to be able to run a lineup where the big is in the corner. Possibly drag KP away from the rim. Speaking of which, it will be an interesting matchup down low. I know Kristaps is thankful this isn't a series where a big is going to be trying to go at him. However, he will be involved in plenty of defensive actions where in Dallas, it normally leaves somebody in the middle and somebody able to roll to the rim or in the dunker spot. And so really curious to see how Boston handles that factor. When Luka comes off the screen and gets an angle towards the basket, now we're in a situation where the attention of two are basically on him. I am trusting in Boston's ability to not just automatically let that be 2 points for Lively or Gafford, get rotations where they're supposed to be. And that's what makes Dallas so hard to guard, because then you do kind of get into the thing of hoping the role players don't just spark. The big test for the Boston Celtics, what does the crunch time offense look like? How much do they bail Dallas out by going into those stagnant sets that happen sometimes that end up in Tatum fadeaways rather than him driving to the rim? It is a series for them which will rely heavily on the role players like a White or Drew Holiday, specifically because Dallas does have length, and it really feels that we'll be providing some extra incentive for Tatum to kind of settle in that mid-range area like he does. And that's where I want to see some initiative and aggression because, again, Dallas's backcourt, Dallas as a team, just hellish defensively in a good way. But if I see situations where Kyrie is switched on to a Brown or a Tatum, like I want to see drives. I want to see drives. I want to see backs to basket. Force Dallas's hand. Force them in rotation. Boston has got the shooters this year to get this done. Still, what Dallas has going for them is they've got the two most talented players on the floor with the basketball in terms of being able to hit ridiculous shots, in terms of being able to bend defense. And sometimes it ain't really up to you. If Luka catches your big on a switch and sidesteps, Your big can contest that shot very well and still get scored on. Kyrie gets 2 feet into the paint. After that, it's between him and the rim. It's very hard to make him struggle. And that way they have automatic offense, and the more they're cooking, the more attention goes to them, the more opportunity for everyone else. That's when Dallas really gets going. That's how you unlock them. For the purposes of the prediction, though, I will obviously be picking Boston. I'm gonna go Celtics in 6. I'm just thinking of it from the lens of, man, if you would have told me at the beginning of this bracket it was going to be Celtics and Mavericks, so that's who they were going to face, I'd have felt good about Boston's chances. And I think a lot of people agree. I think there's a lot of hate that flows around for the Celtics, but at the end of the day, a lot of you have watched this season, you've watched this team, you've seen what they've done to other teams. The road here was very easy and injured. But by now, years into this, wouldn't you agree 90% of the time the best team Boston ever plays is themselves? It's how they go on to lose winnable series. So yeah, if you're wanting to hear me just say they're gonna dominate and Dallas can't win, absolutely not. I do think 2024 is the year this unit finally gets over the hump. They finally fully grow up. I'm hoping what I sense is right in Tatum, where it kind of feels like the internet and media want him to be something a little bit more than he actually is. In other words, 2 years ago, he was texting Kobe. Here, and I'm hoping I'm right, I feel like he's okay if he's not the best player in this series. If he goes in and Derek White wins them a game or two, because that's the thing that's happened before. Or if it's got to be Jaylen Brown. At least for now, I do think that's helping. People have been clowning Tatum on this run, and in some of the series he hadn't played too well in for a lot of them. First of all, he's doing a lot of great things to help the team win, and I feel like that in turn will help this team win. We don't need that man to average 32 points a game for narratives. There is a whole team right there ready to be used. A lot of talent, a lot of versatility. Best team in the league all season. They ain't played anybody in months, but I don't think that it's changed. Yeah, aside from the basketball stuff, gonna be an extremely toxic series, by the way. People hate watching the Celtics. People hate watching Luka. Kyrie Irving in Boston. Oh gosh, that oof. Kristaps against his old team. Dwight Powell against his old team. Okay. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Which team, how many games? And yeah, remember, videos like this and especially predictions next year gonna be on the second channel, so link in the comment section and description there. I've had a lot of fun with these predictions. Told you I was gonna get plenty wrong. The West was that hard to deal with this year. It was just like that. But yeah, appreciate you watching, and I will see you all on the next one.